What's going on, bros and hoes? It's good to see you guys. I'm gonna do one live stream a week for sure, but we're gonna get to 3 to 5 to maybe 7 YouTube videos a week. I'm just working on this this course. It's whipping my butt right now. It's fat, it's thick, it's everything I ever knew in like lawn care, landscape. Really not lawn care, but more machines, the Bobcat construction side of things. And so anyway, I'm putting that together. Hopefully I have that done the next month. I thought I would have had it done a month ago, but it's taken on forever. Nonetheless, I want to jump on today and just see what's good, answer some questions, do some Q&A, talk about what's going on, use a little code. Because if you don't have a clue and you live in America, you need to wake up to the fact that things are not going to be the way they were for the last 10 years. All right, we are more than definitely in a depression. And what that means is our output, our economic output is less than our potential. It's just what it is. One thing to think about mathematically, if you're at 100% and you go down 20%, so you're at 80, and then all of a sudden you have a 10% increase, well, you're not, or 20% increase. Let's just use a 20% increase. So you're at 100%, you go down 20%. So now you're running at 80, and then you go up 20%. Well, you're not back to where you were. You're actually just at 96, right? So that's kind of a depression, is where your economic output is less than your potential. People look at like the 1929, 1930s, all the way really to World War II, and they're like, that's a depression. And yeah, that's definitely a depression. The thing with that one was it was deflationary in nature, where the banks literally closed. People couldn't get their deposits out. There was no FDIC insurance. Capital just disappeared, and like people literally had nothing. We'll see the exact same thing in North America, and I want to be careful about how I approach this on YouTube, on a YouTube live. Nice thing about YouTube is you can edit things and you can post it and you can put your little tags in there and you can be like, I'm a good little boy, I'm all compliant. But nonetheless, don't want to get demonetized from this platform. And I see the crypto question. So guys, jump in your questions there, and I'm going to hit every question that comes in here tonight. But nonetheless, get on my email list. I'll put it in the description. It's trav@onsitetrav.com. You can hit me up in an email. You go to trav@onsitetrav.com/Trav, and there's like an email list, sign up and all that. If you want to do coaching or whatever, I'd be happy to jump on with you. I've got a little coaching section, and that's what I've been doing with my time since I jumped off of Instagram and announced I was going to go to Parler, and that lasted 5 days. So anyway, where we're at is things are not so bueno. All right, things are devolving relatively quickly. Brian, it's good to see you, bro. Cessna Adventure, good to see you. I actually got an email from Brian. I'm cruising through. I'm literally just going through hundreds of. I just have so much backlog crap, and I see an email from Brian. I'm like, all right, I'm getting down to email 0, where I just every day I'm just managing it. So what I'm doing in my personal life is I'm seriously stripping everything down to the basics. Like literally, it's like when you're losing in like basketball in middle school, and your teacher and your coach is like, all right, we're going to the fundamentals. And you're like, okay. And he's like, this is how you dribble. This is how you pass. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, this is pretty dumb. But actually you win a couple weeks later and you're like, all right, it makes sense. You go back to the fundamentals. That's where we're at in America. We're literally at the fundamentals. Unfortunately, where we sit in 2021, we don't agree on the fundamentals of what the American dream is, or you know, what we want the future to be. I mean, we in this country, we are in a disagreement on how many genders there are. And I'm a libertarian guy, so I'm pretty much like a you do you type of guy. But the last count I heard was 63 different genders, and I'm like, I'm confused. All right, like I don't even know what's going on. So nonetheless, there's not really any solving that. There's only we go our separate ways, which would be the most peaceful thing that could happen. Is the U.S. could literally have secessions, and that would actually make the world a much more peaceful place. I personally would love to see China break into 4 or 5 pieces. That would make me sleep a lot better at night. But same thing with the U.S. If the U.S. were to break up into many different pieces and parts, I think it would be substantially beneficial for the individuals in the society. I think that their liberty, their freedom, their wealth, their net worth, I think it would substantially benefit them. But we've got this military-industrial complex, and what we're about to see is if it can stay together, and honestly, probably not because of the fourth turning and a whole lot of other things. Nonetheless, Justin's got a question here quick question, your input on Ethereum. So what Justin's asking about is cryptocurrency. I started talking about this on Instagram. I left Instagram in 2020. I may log in there occasionally here and there, but I don't have it on my phone anymore. I looked at the new terms of service, and it's pretty much like, we're going to read your text messages. We're going to use our camera. I was like, pretty sure it's my camera, but they referred to as theirs. The terms of service said that they could tap into my microphone whenever they wanted to. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work for me, because it's just not going to work for me. Like, I know how this goes, and we've done this in America twice before. And this is, unfortunately, like, this is how it's going to go. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but this is how it's going to go. I mean, this is going to be kind of like a you versus them type of situation. It's going to be crappy. So what Justin's asking about is Ethereum, which is a cryptocurrency. Really, it's a platform. And it's built on the blockchain. So to like distill this, blockchain, most people associate with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is kind of like the OG. It's like the original like blockchain currency, or technology. Let's put it that way. Ethereum is kind of built on. I don't want to say on top of Bitcoin, but Ethereum has a tremendous amount of potential. Let's put it that way, Justin. It has a tremendous amount of potential. I don't quite understand everything that's going on with it. There's a lot of different crypto projects now. I believe this is over 2,000 blockchain projects. It's for sure going to disrupt the banking sector. I mean, like, anyone who's holding banking stocks is about to get rocked. Like, the entire banking sector is about to get rocked. You just don't need them. I mean, you just don't need banks anymore. If you have a phone and I have a phone and there's a blockchain, we can interact and we can do, we can do transactions. How that's going to be regulated, how that's going to be treated, whether they're going to be able to suppress it. Maybe in the short term they will, but in the long term, ultimately the blockchain is going to crush. I mean, that's just what it is. So Ethereum, it has a lot of potential. I definitely think that it's going to go up in value. I couldn't explain to you what the value of Ethereum is. I know that there's smart contracts and all sorts of really intelligent people building on top of that platform. But I don't know it well enough. So what I'm doing is I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. So I'm literally just every week just buying what I can, paying myself first. So if I go out there and make money, like literally pay myself first, I'm buying silver, number one, because I think it's super undervalued. Daughter made me a Bitcoin. It's kind of cute. Buying Bitcoin as well. And then, every 100 pieces of silver or whatever I typically would buy a piece of gold. Not as optimistic on gold, because I just think that the gains, and I'm at a point where I'm trying to grow my net worth. I think the gains are literally silver, Bitcoin. There are other cryptos that might catch up to Bitcoin, but ultimately, if you look at like investing in the 1990s, late 90s into search engines, and you could have invested in Lycos, DuckDuckGo, Ask Jeeves, Google, and if you had done 25% on every single one, you'd have been better off just with Google. And so my approach with crypto is I'm 80% on Bitcoin every dollar, and then I've got 20% that I play with, and any gains I make, I dump into Bitcoin, and then I lock it in off the blockchain. So basically, I lock it in the cold storage onto a wallet, and I put it in a safe. And I've got a couple different safes in a couple different areas where I keep different things, because I don't trust my government. I don't trust what's going on, and that's what's basically we're at a currency reset. I'm sure as shit not saving dollars. All right. I mean, I have dollars, I've got US, $100 bills stacked and whatnot, but like, I don't have a, so to answer Justin's question there, I don't really know enough about the project. I'm interested in a couple other projects, and I definitely think it's going to go up in value. But I don't know what the value of that is. So I think that the value is coming later. One thing's for sure, we need a decentralized platform. We need a decentralized blockchain technology where I can share a video. It can be formatted. and you can share a video and it can be hosted on everybody's private devices and nobody can take it down. That's literally where we're at right now. Whether that comes in time before the CW kicks off or not, I don't know. Rocking into other questions here. We have more armed troops in Washington than both Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, we do. I just talked to a guy from the National Guard today, and we were talking about that. This is a spot where if you don't have your rounds, if you don't have your crap ready to go, like I've got younger brothers and I'm just like, guys, like you guys got to get your shit together. And they're like, oh, everything's going to be fine. Yeah, it's all going to work out. This corruption is going to be exposed and there's going to be lollipops dropping from heaven. I don't think that's going to work like that. America typically every 100 years kicks off like this on this dirt. That's just how it goes. So I know IG peeps need my daily knowledge. I get it, dude. I get it. I've had some sketchy things. Let's put it that way. I've had some sketch balls roll through the IG comments, and they're 100% government type of people. And I've got really good friends in DC. We worked together in DC back in 2011, and one of them's a lawyer, and he hit up some of my stuff, and he was like, "Dude, you got to get the fuck off this, like, period." Because these dudes are not. They're not. They're trying to pry and trying to. I know there's First Amendment, but not in this country right now. It's just pretty obvious. Things are getting shut down. That's why I say get on my email list. Send me an email, trav@onsitetrav.com. Love to put you on my list because at some point I'll just put like real videos through the email list, and you can share them with friends and family that way. And I'll make it so that hopefully make it so that you guys can text that video around and whatnot. But like, it's just pretty typical. I mean, this is what happens during the fourth turning. So show Vic a bar in New York selling Bitcoin. If you guys are in New York or California, you seriously need to get the fuck out of there, period. Like it's a communist. Those are communist states. You're going to get taxed to death. People are going to leave those states, which are going to leave you with more of a tax burden. And your property values are going to get absolutely decimated. And they are going to inflict the will of the state over you. And you need to get the fuck out of New York or California. And I totally get it. Like if you were like, yo, Trav, you gotta get out of Florida. I mean, I'm pretty agnostic to where I'm like residing. But like I'm here because it's probably the best spot and I know how to like hunt it, fish it. Like I know the lay of land. I've got social connections. I know everybody else does. I've got family. But if I had the rules that California and New York had, I'd have been out a year ago. Probably 5 or 10 years ago. But you gotta look at the writing on the wall and be like, this is not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So nonetheless, thanks. I feel the same. I don't know very much about it, but I've been recently investing in crypto. I'm new to it. Always done stocks. So here's the deal, Justin. Another Justin there. Same Justin. Dollar cost average in, which means if you got $50 a week, great. If you got $100 a week, great. If you got $500 a week, great. If there's a crazy dip, because crypto is crazy right now, it's erratic, and you've got an extra $1,000 or extra $2,000, or you sold the truck, or you had some extra cash and you want to buy the dip, great. But if not, just be consistent, be faithful, and get your crypto on what they call a cold wallet. You need to get it off the blockchain. You need to get it out of the exchange that you buy it on, and you need to put it in your safe. You got to remember your 12 passwords, and that's all you got to do. Like you can just keep dollar cost averaging in. I didn't talk about crypto too much in the past year, but if you guys go back to some of my Periscope videos, most of them will be gone in March because Periscope project is getting axed. I mentioned it a couple times. I saw Bitcoin originally at $3. I remember sitting there going, crap, the market value of this thing is trillions or zero. I still believe that. And now the whole narrative is like, well, what's the market cap of it? I think you should buy it as like smuck insurance. It's not financial advice. I just think like 1%, 5%, 10% of your net worth. If you're a real cowboy, 20, 30. If you have no family and no one, your decisions literally only affect you, 50%. I'm more optimistic on silver, honestly. There's a lot of different reasons why I think silver is going to crush it. But you need to get out of the system. You need to not be saving dollars. You need to just have enough dollars to pay your bills, to buy the necessities. But like understand, they're going to print trillions of these things, and in the short term, when things just get crappy, dollars are going to be useful. and then they're going to be worthless. They're going to be absolutely worthless, and that's by design. Moving on to the questions here. Super frustrating what's going on. Yeah, you got GOTS. All right. I would say GOTS. Get out of the system to the best that you can, because it's not like this hasn't happened before. Like, if you go back and you really read through your history and whatnot, this happens over and over and over. And as soon as people get complacent, they're like, oh, everything's great. I just want to hang out and drink beers on 4th of July and enjoy the freedom that I inherited and just chill. Well, it doesn't work like that. Like, we've got a political class that is going to do whatever they got to do to stay in power and to run their will over the people. They don't care how many trillions of dollars they print. They don't care how much national debt they add. They don't care how many favors they give to other countries that want to absolutely destroy us. They do not care. They hate you. And the sooner you realize that they hate you, I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat or pro-Trump or anti-Trump. I don't even want to say that name on this platform because I don't want to get deplatformed for this. I get paid on Instagram and Facebook, and I like this platform. Honestly, I love this platform. I'm on this thing all day, but they hate you. I mean, straight up, you're nothing but a unit of labor to them. You need to get the fuck out of the system. Period. You need to be stacking silver. You need to be stacking gold. You need to be stacking ammo. You need to be figuring out your food supply. You need to be figuring out how you're going to make energy, how you're going to get water, where you're going to hang out at, because this event is going to take a while. It's not going to be over in a year. It's going to be over with a political election. It's not like that. We have decided to shut down the economy, which means we've taken goods and services out of the economy. We've decided to print fake currency. We've decided to create a permanent underclass, which basically means they're disadvantaged. We are deciding that those that didn't go to college may very well be using their tax dollars to pay off people that did go to college, their debt. And this is going to end, quite frankly, in blood. There's just no way around it. It'd be nice if we could just have a come to Jesus moment and just chill this down. But if we can't agree that there's 2 or 3 or 5 genders, I mean, I'll go 5. But if we're at 63 and I'm at 2, we're just too far apart. There's just no way that we're going to be able to fix this. And you guys saw with this past bill that they passed that Trump signed. I mean, if you guys are pro-Trump people, understand the guy's a socialist. All right. Like, he's not like this libertarian, badass. Like, Trump's an opportunist. He has no moral compass. Like, he does what he's got to do for the day, and he flies by the seat of his pants, which is screwing him right now, but by design. He doesn't really have a clue on what's actually going on, quite literally. He signs a $2.3 trillion stimulus package. Without that, the entire U.S. economy collapses. I mean, the whole thing collapses. I wouldn't have signed it. I'd have been like, fuck you. Let's go. Let's go into this depression. Let's go deep. Goldman Sachs, screw you. Let's go. But Trump's going to keep the thing going. He's going to talk against the swamp, but he's going to keep the thing going. Biden's going to step on the pedal, and then if they let off the pedal, the wheels on the bus are going to be coming off, quite literally. So this thing is not going to get any better. I've mentioned before in a couple of Instagram stories last year, the derivatives market is unbelievably scary. Unbelievably scary. Don't even try to understand it. It's just bets on tops of bets on tops of bets. More money for the baby boomers is managed passively than actively. What that means is a guy like me that studied finance in undergrad would manage somebody's money. When I got out of undergrad, I chose not to go into the finance field for this reason, because it was 2011. Instead, I went to go work for Charles Koch. Time he's like the 5th wealthiest guy. I went to go work for him in DC. I saw Bitcoin at $3 with some of my coworkers. I thought, whoa, this thing is going to freaking crush. If it crushes, it crushes. It really solves a lot of problems. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to go for that liberty type of thing. And then I went and became an entrepreneur and just worked for myself, and kind of thought, yeah, I don't know how this whole thing's going to work. And here we are 10 years later. The wheels on the bus are coming off. And so getting yourself out of the system financially to the best of your ability matters, but getting yourself out of the system physically to the best of your ability matters. Water, food, shelter, community, because we're going to go into this period of time where we're not going to have the advantages we had where we traded with everyone around the world and there was free trade and there wasn't tariffs, and things are going to get weird. Every country is trying to literally print their currency out of existence to make the government debt less, to grow the government at a larger rate, and to make their goods and services cheaper relative to other countries. And so everybody's literally trying to print their currencies out of existence. This is going to screw the poor and the middle class. It's going to make the super elite and super rich like even richer and more elite. And then it's going to make the poor slaves, which they're already basically slaves. You need to be thinking about, okay, how can you help as many people as possible? How can you not be affected by yourself to the best of your ability? And it's literally one of those points in history where you're going to have to hunker down and you have to make it through. And if you make it through, it's going to be crazy opportunities. I mean, we're definitely going to get to a point on the backside of this where things are going to be pretty gnarly. They call it the singularity, where technology just gets so crazy, where it's just like you live in this world of, I don't want to say super abundance, but just really awesome innovation. But you're going to have to go through this period. You call it a Great Depression 2, where you're going to have to make it through. The sad thing is most depressions are accompanied with events of violence. And to not think that that's going to happen is extremely naive. Like, I've got family members. I can't get them to do shit. You know, like, I mean, oh yeah, everything's good. We literally have conversations like, so if you show up at my gate with no silver, no gold, no firearms, no food supply, what the fuck do I do with you? And they're all kind of like, well, that won't happen. Okay. Like, I'm just trying to get agreements with them now. It's like, all right, let's just have a gentleman's agreement on what the fuck happens when you show up with nothing. Do I take you in as like a refugee, or are you going to be an asset? And so if I can encourage any of you guys, be an asset, because this is not going to get any better. This situation is a situation where the powers that be are going to continue to lock down the economy. Certain people in our population are going to get screwed by those lockdowns, and everything they had or worked for or generationally worked for is going to be taken from them. That's by design. You can't even say that this is even like, you know, you can't even say that this is like a mistake at this point. This is seriously from design. If you want to really go deep down the rabbit hole, you could look at the World Economic Forum. These people meet in Davos. Surprising amount of characters that meet there. President Harris's husband is one of them. I just did a job for a customer who's a business partner with Mr. Harris, or whatever his name is. I think she's got her own name because she's super progressive like that. And this guy's a total weenie too, so I wouldn't expect her to take his name. But nonetheless, some corrupt crap. And actually, the citizens of New York State, you guys gave this guy $250 million in a grant, free money, your tax money, for a medical company he had with his lawyer partners, to create 1,500 jobs in the state of New York because so many jobs are leaving. So nonetheless, that's how things work. Those close to the printing press are going to seriously benefit, and those that are not are going to get screwed. And then the entire thing is just going to come apart, and we're going to go through this reset type of period where people like your Bill Gateses and your Fauci's and all those type of people are going to push their views. And at the end of the day, the American patriot and his rifle are probably going to end up making the rules. That's probably how this shit's going to go down. It's normally how it's gone down in this country before. But to think like some of my family does that that's not how this is going to go down is completely naive. Completely naive. It's how this shit has happened every 100 years in this country. So here we are again. More questions. What do you think will happen to the police, fire, EMS? First of all, their pensions are going to zero. Number one. Okay. A lot of those guys do those jobs for those great pensions. Pensions are going to zero. This is going to be your first thing you're going to see. You're going to see like the European Central Bank probably this year. It worked like this in 2008 as well. You're going to see like a big central bank go bankrupt. And you're going to be like, that's weird. but not really, because they locked down Europe and like, they're printing money like it's going out of style. But nonetheless, and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, is going to come in there as big brother, and they're going to be like, everything's okay, we're here to help you. And they're going to create something called an SDR. That's called a special drawing right. And they're going to recapitalize Europe with SDRs, which basically just is like a government money, or really, it's a worldwide money. It's not money, it's currency. Okay, this is money. Money is that holds value, has intrinsic value, cannot be printed, and quite literally has to be earned and stored. Currency can just come out of thin air. I mean, currency is toilet paper, in my opinion. I mean, if people take it, great. But nonetheless, fire, EMS, police departments, they're going to split in half. I just talked to my buddy at National Guard today. They're going to split in half. And you're going to have your rights and your lefts. And you're going to have your tattletales. Obviously, the left is going to be your tattletale. And they're going to be, they're going to have more power at the beginning of this thing. And then that power is going to start unwinding, as with the US dollar. I mean, the US dollar is it's going away. Like, it's not going to have the value it had before. So yeah, pensions are going to go broke. I see the comment there. Pensions won't go broke because China Joe will print money and give it to them. So as you print money, the money that you have, and let's call it currency because it's what it is. Let's use the right definition. So the currency that you have is going to become worthless or worth less. All right. So what's happening there is that you're stealing purchasing power from those that currently hold that currency, and those that get the new currency. So basically, like what I've got here is, right, I got a Hyundai, a couple more because this is my silver fund. It's like every week I go and take the cash I get from different things and I buy silver because it's the most private currency you could possibly get. And nonetheless, I have the purchasing power of $100. As they print a new $100 and they give it to somebody else, well, the $100 of paper I'm holding loses value, and the first person to spend it, they really reap more of the rewards. So what that is to say is, like, you need a certain amount of cash, but at the end of the day, the stock market's at all-time highs. If you've got a 0% interest rate and you're managing, let's just say, $1 billion for police and fire of Southwest Florida, okay, and how do you take care of those pensioners that you have behind you? And so those pensioners they're going to have a certain amount of draw that's going to occur from like them hanging at home and like being 65 and like taking $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And so if the interest rate's 0, where are you going to go get a return? Like if you're the fund manager, this is why I didn't go into finance, right? It's like, where are you going to go get a return? You're going to go buy Tesla stock? Like it'll take 170 years for Tesla to make the current profit that they're making to be worth what they're currently valued at. So what are you going to do? Go buy Tesla stock? Hope it keeps going? I mean, like, not a whole lot you can do, right? Like, it's just hard to find a 7% year return, which is what they would need. And to grow the fund, you'd need 10 or 12 or 13%, which was normal, like, for the last 50 or 60 years. But now the Federal Reserve is negative or 0 interest rates. There's nowhere to get returns, right? You can't just buy a certificate of deposit with $1 billion and just be like, okay, cool, we're making 7% interest on this thing, and we'll pay our pensioners off of that, and we'll keep growing the fund. So what's going to happen is they'll pay their pensioners, and the fund will get smaller and smaller and smaller. They'll take more and more risk because they'll lose on some of that risk, and then 5 or 6, 7 years later, it'll just become a Social Security problem. So that's what's going to happen with that, which means that, they'll print more currency. And that's what's going down. And at the end of the day, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, they will ban cash because these are for drug dealers. $100 bills will become outlawed. That'll be the first thing they'll do. They'll leave 20s, and then eventually you'll have your 5s. Inflation will take your 1s and 5s out of circulation, and you move to a digital currency so that they can play with it. Some more questions here. We're all slave to the value of $1, so the main goal is to make enough dollars quicker to stop being a slave, and maybe hire some slaves to take your spot and make you some dollars. So machines are a good way to do it. I used to have 7 employees. I don't have any employees now. I use subcontractors if I need them. And I don't, if I can do it with a machine, I'm doing it with a machine. So is McDonald's, right? You raise minimum wage to $15, which is what we just did in the state of Florida. And you're McDonald's, you're like, okay, 1,000 employees times $15 an hour. It's $15,000 an hour. How much does it cost for fancy automated machines? Anything under $1 billion is cash flow positive, right? So, and you can loan that money at 0%. So why wouldn't you just go buy $1 billion machine, replace your McDonald's employees? So that's what's going to happen. So you create more unemployment, and then you create a dependent society, and then that dependent society votes a certain way, and then that, you guys see how it roots in. And then once it roots in, you can't really get it out. It's not like, oh, we'll just go vote and we'll vote for the right side. It's not like that's going to happen, right? So the left will then, push their will on, quote, the right. I'm a libertarian, so I'm not like middle of the road. I'm just like, leave me the fuck alone. That's where I stand. I'm like, if you want to be socially liberal and do your thing, you want to marry whoever you marry and do it, good for you. And I'd like to be financially conservative. That's me. I'm financially conservative and I'm socially liberal. So I'm not a conservative or a liberal. Just want them out of my life. But nonetheless, it's not really an option at this point in time because wheels on the bus are coming off. What's going to happen with those employed with jobs with incorporated companies? We are talking mass layoffs in coming years. So let's think about this, right? So right now the narrative is we're in a inflation period because they're printing so much money. I would argue that we're actually in a deflation because if I've got an employee like my roommates in DC that made $100,000 a year in DC, and then moved out to the countryside and no longer lived in DC, didn't have the expenses living in DC, why do I have to pay them $100,000 a year? They're working from home. So in my opinion, I could pay them $50,000 a year. I could cancel my office rent and be a lot more profitable, or lower my rates to be more competitive. All of those forces that I've mentioned are deflationary in nature. So I don't care what they print, it's going to lower the value of those dollars, but they're going to be deflationary in nature. To add jobs, industrial, trade, infrastructure. So same question there, Sean. So to add jobs in industrial infrastructure would require someone like me and other people that save actual money to want to invest in America. And there's nothing right now that would make me want to invest in dollars or $1 billion or anything. There's nothing. If the government wants to pay me, it's just like, hey, Trav, if you guys have been following for a long time, you guys know there's this boat company I want to buy. It's because I really like it. Really want to buy this boat. It's the baddest boats you can buy. They're sick. And I think that'd be fun. It'd be fun to go to boat shows and make the baddest boats. And then let's think about boats, right? They're so dumb. They got all this resistance in the hull. Put them on hydrofoils. They got all this stupidness on the outboard where you lose power when you go this way, lose the power. You're just losing power in every single right angle. Why don't we just do direct drive electronic direct drives on hydrofoils? Game over, right? Who's going to compete with that? I would love to do that. But the idea that I'm going to take any of my personal capital and invest and employ Americans and then have mask mandates and then maybe have a guy that gets COVID, doesn't show up for 2 weeks, or he's got to take care of his kids and I got to pay for him. No way. I'll do whatever, but I'm not going to invest in this country. So the jobs, industrial, trade, infrastructure, the way that those come back is when you guys get a war, and that's going to be with China. So when you guys get a big global war and you have to build fighter planes and all those other things, that's when your big jobs come back. Are you still in the landscape supply business? I am not. Do stump grinding, do tractor services, pretty much stick to that. And I do a lot of coaching. More or less, I'm pivoting my entire business to being on the computer, being super mobile, and then helping people at scale. So with the supply, I can help people locally in my town. I can help people outside my town. I can create new, franchises if I wanted, but that's kind of my market. If I do something online, I can do it anywhere, anytime, and I can do a better rate. Right. So, and I can create somewhat of a moat around the business because access to OnSite Trav is I kind of have a monopoly on the OnSite Trav thing, right? People could copy me, other people could take my message, and it just helps push my message. And I can help more people with that. So Biden and Harris are going to kill the industrial work with the Green Deal. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity. If you guys are paying attention to what's going on, there's going to be a lot of opportunity with this new Green Deal. By the way, this is a crazy thing. I talked with a guy today about it, and screw it, I'm going to say it. Silver right now is $25 an ounce. And so you can buy silver at $25 an ounce. Gold is $18.50 an ounce. The ratio between the two is about 1 to 75. It takes take 75 ounces of silver to equal monetary value 1 ounce of gold. Unfortunately, they only mine 8 ounces of silver out of the ground for every 1 ounce of gold. Most silver is on our phones, on our laptops and different things. And so we tend to throw those out and they go to landfills. So of those 8 out of 1 ounces, they typically get thrown away, but they are the best conductor of electricity. And so we need them. You can't build solar panels without them. You can't build Teslas without them. You can't build a lot of things without them. And so I would say, in my opinion, could be completely wrong in this, so gold has to rise. If you look at the spending and you look at the gold price, gold has to have 5 or 6x. So gold at $2,000 an ounce has to go to 10 or 12 sometime in the next 5 years, just because the Federal Reserve has that on their balance sheet, and balance sheets need to balance. So they're going to have to raise the price of gold, or they're going to have to allow the price of gold to rise. They clearly suppress the price of gold. With that said, the extinction of silver may cause silver to not be 1 to 75. It may cause it to be a 1 to 1 in a best case scenario, in which case you have gold rising to $10,000 or $12,000 an ounce, and then you have the value of silver being more useful for industrial purposes and necessity, because it doesn't really matter if there's a half of an ounce of a fraction of an ounce in this phone, if the price is $1,000 or the price is change the price of the phone more than $10, right? So one of the best plays out there right now, which is weird because it doesn't create any yield, right? Like it literally it doesn't make babies. It's not like my Exxon stock that makes dividends every 90 days. Boom, dividends, there they are. They've been pumping oil and boom, dividends in my account. This thing just doesn't change value, but it's so out. So it's so cheap that it doesn't even, most things that most silver has been found, right? Like the Romans found it, like they found it in Jesus's time. Like silver is on the top layers. It's by riverbeds. It's easy to find. It's why it's cheaper. Gold, you got to dig down. It's like Gold Rush on Discovery Channel. You got to get down there. You got to get it. So with bigger machinery, you're going to find more gold. It doesn't matter how deep you go. You're not going to find any more silver. So the silver that was laying on top has pretty much been found. It's been picked apart, and most of it's sitting in a landfill now. And so you may see an opportunity where silver rips, and it's super private. So social credit scores are coming. Yeah. So is a digital dollar. Also why you want, it's clear that we're going to have digital currency. I'd rather have Bitcoin as digital currency. I don't want, Fed coin, but I'm sure we'll all have Fed coin because of the tax system and whatnot. And they'll be able to go in there and say, oh, well, Trav did a video on this. We can't, his social credit score is going to go down. Or, oh, why did you buy some ammunition with your Fed coin? Social credit score going down. And so the whole goal there is to create this entrenched political class that you cannot get rid of. However, in America, we've done a pretty good job in the past of getting rid of them. I'll just leave it like that because, guys speaking code out here. But it's not, they're not going to be able to push too many hardcore Americans too far before they start organizing. And once they start organizing, your 9 Suburbans aren't going to touch what these guys are going to be bringing on you. You're not going to, and those guys that are doing it are going to be like, why am I doing this $50,000 job, $50,000 a year job just to, have an ambush of, bunch of Suburbans. Screw that. I'm out. I'm going to take care of my family. So I think that's what's coming for. I see a BTC bro from the Joker. Yeah. So just dollar cost average in on Bitcoin. If you understand it, because if it goes down 50%, it goes up 50%. If you're selling, if you're buying, no, you're just buying, you're just collecting and you're holding. And it's kind of like SMUC insurance. If they screw this up, if the Federal Reserve literally prints that $1 too many and people go, this isn't worth anything. This stuff is paper. To me, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. Not worth anything. But if they print that $1 billion too much, where the general public, the unassuming, naive general public goes, wait a second. this stuff is bullshit. And they realize that, well, yeah, no shit. This is the real stuff. I mean, I guess you can try to find it at that point in time, but like, it's too late. I mean, I bought a lot of it, $25 in this town, right? Like, I guess, I mean, you can attempt to find it, but like, and then what happens is you roll into a hyperinflation. And so you need to be watching for that. Not that you can't transact in that stuff. It's just you don't want to be saving long term in that stuff. What's up, playa? So Trav's hard to rationalize with a Democratic now. Trav, it's so hard to rationalize with the Democratic now. So yeah, I'm pretty like apolitical. Like I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to politics. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube or not, but I'm personally an anarcho-libertarian. That means I believe in the function of anarchy, meaning no rulers, meaning free people, and libertarian, meaning you pursue your liberty and I pursue my liberty. And we don't have a function of the state. I don't see a function for the state. I don't know why there should be some individuals that take from me in the form of taxes, redistribute it to their friends in the form of, you could even call them police officers or whatever, and then they come and regulate me. Doesn't make sense. Some people would say that it makes things more peaceful because what if Trav ends up getting 55 Blackhawks and, you know, ended up going and inserting his will over his neighbors and stuff like that? And I would say it actually doesn't really work like that. If you look at the Wild West, pretty chill place. Not a whole lot of things going on, a couple sheriffs here and there, but ultimately it was straight up anarchy. And it developed from a gross domestic product standpoint much faster than the East Coast. That's why California crushed it. That's why Hollywood ended up going to the East Coast. That's why West Coast. That's why venture capital went to the West Coast. That's why Silicon Valley happened on the West Coast. Because if you look at California, it wasn't happening until 1840. And there was a gold rush, and people went on over to the gold rush, right? And on the East Coast, what did they do on the East Coast? Well, they had a civil war. That's what they did. They fought over you make cotton and we make trains, and we're going to fight North and South. And, you know, your history books will all tell you, oh, it was all about race. It was all about slaves and stuff. It had not a damn thing to do with that. It was all about taxes, period. Full stop. The only way that Lincoln freed the slaves was because he was like, hey, if I free these people, I can get more soldiers. He didn't give a shit. Like, it wasn't like, if he wanted to do that, he could have done that a long time ago. It's the same thing that the Democrats do now. They don't give a shit about black people. They show up and talk about some black people, and they need some damn votes. And the black people sit there and go, oh, hell yeah, man, I'm ride with Biden. Yeah, I'm ride with Biden. Yeah, you got some fake money, motherfucker? Okay. They're still got you slaved, bro. I don't know. I mean, maybe I get banned for saying that, but you're still fucking slaved up, dude. I mean, I don't know what else to say, you know? Like, so it's individuals in society that can't create value for other people. They find it easier to go work for the government, steal from other people, and then insert their will using somebody else who, you know, has a firearm to insert their will. I see that as completely unnecessary, unhealthy, slowing economic growth, anti-liberty, and I don't want to see you anywhere near me. And I'm working as hard as I can to keep you away. And I'm working as hard as I can to get as wealthy as possible, because, like, at the end of the day, some low-paid police officers, I just want to be like, yo, don't even come out. Don't even come out. Go mess with the people in the hood. Go mess with them. You don't even want to try. I'd rather be FBI problems. So that's what it is. We'll wrap up here. So Republican Party is dead. Yeah, the Republican Party is going to split. That's for sure. The left might split too. AOC might split her party. Super radical left. They'll probably go with her to stay together. But yeah, the Republican Party is going to split in half for sure. You guys already saw that. That's already happening. And we need the state to remove the commies. Fighting fire with fire, maybe. I think we just don't need a state. You know, go back to your house, create value for other people. I don't see why we need Washington, D.C. at all to dictate what's happening here in Florida. I honestly don't even think that Florida should be part of the United States. I don't think Texas should be part of the United States. I don't think we need to be. I don't think California should be part of the United States. California is going to drag the United States down because we're going to have to print money to bail them out. We're going to have to print money to bail out New York. We're going to have to print money to bail out Michigan. We're going to have to print money to bail out all these blue states. And that's going to create major problems. And I'm sorry for saying money. It's really currency. But nonetheless, last questions I'll hit. Any other ones, type them in there, and then we'll wrap it. Appreciate you guys being on tonight. I'm going to do one of these at least once a night, once a week. Excuse me. We're going to do one of these at least once a week. I'm going to try to do 2, 3, 4, get into 5 YouTube videos a week, and then I would love to just do this every day, honestly, because I love this platform. And then I'm doing a lot with dudes in coaching. So OnSite Trav.com/Trav. Got coaching, things like that. And I've been coaching with more people this past month than I have ever. So it's been awesome. Like if you're really interested in investing or crypto, or you want to talk about business, freaking love it. So I'd love to jump on a coaching call with you. I'm starting a business selling gun holsters. Do you have any advice to help me succeed? Good time. I don't know how to pronounce that K word, but good time for it. I would say MVP would be the best thing I could tell you, which is minimal viable product, which means get your product, throw it out there, get feedback, take the feedback, make your edits to your product or sales process or whatever, keep hitting it. So literally it's one of those things where it's like, what's up, Brian? Hello. Where it's like, get your product out there. That's what I would tell you. Is literally it's about sales. You don't have to have the best product. You have the best sales. And when you get sales, then you get feedback. And when you get feedback, then you can make it happen. So I miss IG. Super easy to communicate over there. I agree. I miss IG too, dude. But I can't have IG on my phone. Like you guys get that, right? Like IG is literally going to report me to the FBI. I can't have it. Like not going to happen, right? Because the FBI is going to do some fucked up shit over the next couple of years. I just don't want to be that one guy. They're like, oh, they tried to come for Trav. And I'm just going to tell them because I know they watch. Bring multiple choppers. Do not come with a solo chopper in a van. Do not come like that. Come hot if you're planning on winning. Because I'm a really, really, really libertarian leaning dude. And it's just like, I do not support government thugs with guns whatsoever. And I hope that you guys don't either. But IG is one of those things where they've got rights. I mean, if you've got the IG app on your phone, every text message you have on your phone is on a Facebook server. Do you trust those guys? Where's that information going? If you're talking to your mom and you might say something, that shit might be at an FBI. I can't have it. I can't have it. I've actually moved all my stuff to private servers and whatnot because I can't have it, dude. Like there's other people that they go mess with. They'll go mess with weaker people before they come for me. Like, and eventually. And if you just look at what's going on in Congress right now, oh, you're a Trump supporter? Well, we got to get rid of you. Looks like you guys are on the terrorism. Oh, heaven forbid. You let those protesters in on a tour the day before. Terrorists. Patriot Act coming out, right? So we're at that spot where the left and the right wants to fight. They want to fight. It's not like they want to like try to move forward and try to solve COVID or try to solve the economic problems or try to solve the poverty. They want to fight. So fuck it. Let's win. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what these Congress and senators think like is going to happen. I mean, maybe they think they're going to ride around with 5 or 6 or 7 Tahoes and a couple guys getting the government pensions. And then when the pensions start to fail, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to airfield and get on your private jet? I mean, what happens when 50, disgruntled ex-Marines show up? The fuck you gonna do then? I mean, I don't even think these people have thought that. Like, hey, has Nancy thought about that? Like, what if like 15 guys get together and they're like, fuck this, we're done with this shit. Well, we know there's 4 airfields in the Arlington, right? We know the tail number that they're gonna be flying on. We know that there's 5,500 pounds of fuel on each wing. Any other questions? I mean, and that's what they want. They want that shit. So it is what it is. You think Trump still has a chance? Dude, it's over, bro. Like, not just for Trump, it's over for like liberty in America. Like, you and I inherited our freedom. There's few of us in our generation that have went and quote fought for it. and I don't want to piss any of you guys off, but ultimately you fought for Dick Cheney's oil. I mean, you went over there and killed whoever you had to kill to keep the American way of life going. But like, did you fight and push liberty throughout the world? Probably not. You probably enslaved more people than you helped. But yeah, I mean, we're living in a time where like the government is vaccinating people and talking about putting shots in people's arms. Not happening here. No way, bro. But well, you're not gonna be able to ride on our public airlines if you don't get our shot. Oh, you don't wear a mask? Or you're not gonna be able to fly on our airlines if you don't wear a mask. Okay. Nope. Not about it. And if 100 other my buddies say, nope, not about it. And then heaven forbid 1,000 other guys go, fuck you. You guys need to be making sure you got your food, your water, your shelter, gold, silver, Bitcoin. Literally, get your shit tight. Because I don't think that this is going to go well. Because there's going to be a few people here that are going to be like, nah, we're done with the bullshit. And they're going to start going. And when they start going, it's over. Like, supply chains breaking down. It's going to be bad. I mean, I'm not for it. I'd rather just see a de-dollarization, a move to Bitcoin. No war required. No taxes required. Defund these assholes and move on in peace. Unfortunately, that's a lofty idea. Last question here. That's why I'm starting a business. Yeah, dude, this is the best time to be an entrepreneur. Honestly, it's the best time to be an entrepreneur. There's no way I'd want to have a job. You get fired anytime. When you're an entrepreneur, you have somewhat control, and your successes and your failures are on you, and you learn, and you can you can do your thing. I'm gonna hit this crypto question here. I see this. So there's another. So there's a lot of cryptos out there. I went earlier in this live stream. I talked about like if you were to buy Lycos, Ask Jeeves, let's just throw Yahoo in there, DuckDuckGo, and then Google, and you were to like put 20% on every single one. Well, like, would you have been better off like just buying Google? And if you knew that you had Google at the beginning, like if you're like, yeah, it's Google, you'd have been better off just not even worrying about the others and just buying Google. So Bitcoin is Google. It's going to win. It has all the money behind it. It has the advantage, has first movers advantage. Now, are there going to be other ones that run faster? Yeah. So I would do like an 80-20 approach where like, if I'm putting $100 in every month or every week or whatever I can afford, pay yourself first, by the way. I'm buying that. And then maybe I'm experimenting with some of those stuff. Something that's interesting to me, one of the crypto projects is Zcash. It's private. I like it. Everything on Bitcoin is public. I mean, it's totally public. But there's going to be these other projects. And I think that you should check those out and you should speculate on those things. But I think that you should probably take the majority, like your savings, like your safe place. And I think that you should just bank it on the horse that is winning and is going to win. But are there other ones that might come up? Yeah. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, 10 years from now, we're going to be looking at like 2 to 4 cryptocurrencies that are going to be pretty prevalent. And I think Bitcoin's going to be, one of them. And then there'll be you'll have Google there, and then you'll have your Yahoo, and there'll be a few others. And so, yeah, if you can find a Yahoo and it's, $1 a coin or whatever, and you can partake, great. But I wouldn't do like all of my type of stuff. Should I partner with someone if they means they have more money for me? Try to avoid partnerships if you can. They say that partnerships are the only ships that don't float. You can avoid partnerships. If it's with a spouse or whatever, that'd be the best. But when you get 2 dudes in a partnership, it's like a marriage. Sometimes it works out. But literally it's like having 2 dudes in a marriage with no sex. So if you want to be partnered up with your buddy and you love him, then you do you, bro. But if you're like, nah, I can't do this. Like, he wants to do one thing, I want to do the other thing. Sometimes there's advantages. If you can get a silent partner, if you can get an investor, I'm all about that. But if you're, trying to manage and run the business, sometimes partnerships work, but most of the time you're better off rolling solo. So, want Bitcoin long-term, but CCI will pump harder. Yeah. So dude, if you make profits on a crypto that runs and flip them into Bitcoin, great. Like, cool. But like if you want to just keep it simple, just dollar cost average in, just keep buying Satoshis. You don't have to have whole Bitcoin. All right. You just be buying Satoshis. There's 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. That's how it's designed. All right. So if you can get yourself 100 million Satoshis, great. If you can get yourself 10 million Satoshis, you can get yourself 5 million Satoshis, like whatever. Like if you can just keep doing it, and then your silver, your gold, and then have your stuff set up so you can make it through the end of the trade. All right, you're going into a period where you're going to have to make it through the period. You don't want to get like three years in and be like, oh shit, I have no food, no shelter, and I need to sell my Bitcoin. Well, that sucks, right? Now, if you make it to 2035 and you've got your Bitcoin, I'd say you're going to be pretty happy. Like, but if you've got to cash your Bitcoin out because you don't have your other bases covered, then that sucks. Same thing with your silver and gold. I buy silver and gold hoping I never have to sell it. But if I do, I can buy stuff with it, and it gets me through. So anyway, great talking with you guys tonight. And it was good. It was good. So hit me up, Trav at OnSite Trav, in the email. And I will talk to you guys shortly. Peace.